All right, we are in the studio corner with Mr. Call. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's going on?
Thanks for having us, man.
Well, introduce yourselves. Choose one to go first.
I'm Xavier Valdez. I play bass in the band.
You've been here.
I've been here.
I'm Lyle. I play guitar.
I'm Joe. I sing.
And unfortunately, Tyler could not be with us tonight. He's all the way in Canada. Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
Well done. It's a good thing you're a musician. So, Mr. Call, let's start there. Let's start with the name. I
Yeah.
think I've asked you this before. I honestly don't remember the story, but now I have, the actual
you should
recording
tell
of
that.
it.
Yeah.
I should? Okay.
Yeah.
So the band was trying to come up with a new name, and we were throwing around a bunch of ideas, and just kind of combining dumb things that were really, I think we had like text chains going back and forth about just kind of ridiculous names of combining words that kind of sounded like other things, and somehow there was one point where my wife, actually, we were talking and then she left, and then she'd called me, and I missed her call, and it was just like that type of play on words that we were screwing around with, and it just kind of stuck as an idea of Mr. Call, as an idea. But I think more importantly, what it turned into for us was that it was kind of like a Captain Planet thing, where Mr. Call became like a little symbol for us, where everyone in the band kind of has different backgrounds, different musical tastes, and just came together. And as the group comes together, we consider it to be this like kind of superhero entity of Mr. Call. So that's where it came from.
I fucking love that.
Yeah. Especially the music.
It's much better than the story you told me.
I said the kind of similar story in a way.
I don't remember exactly what you said, but I know it wasn't that.
Well, what he was getting to was that everybody with different musical backgrounds, I hate all the music they listen to.
Not all of it.
Really?
Well, like most of the music that they listen to or like from.
I think that is totally inaccurate.
Yeah.
I think.
What do you mean?
Here's the deal. So we very intentionally play music for him that we know he hates all the time. Like
do
it's
the
a
same.
thing. Like we were like, dude, there's this new hot Nickelback track that
Oh,
you're gonna
God,
love.
no.
And we whip it out, and he's like, oh, you guys listen. Like, fine, but you have to understand that most of the stuff we play for him is designed for him to hate it. So
And
I think
I
that's
hate
a
it.
crucial component.
So I think what Joe is saying is that they know you really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you should say thank you for paying attention to who I am.
Pretty predictable, honestly.
God damn it. So that's actually really interesting to me. You guys come from different musical backgrounds, different tastes in music. So you come together, you create a band. So if I were to ask you to classify the genre of your band, what would you call it? If you could.
I think, like generally we'd start with pop rock of
Pop
sorts,
rock, okay.
or
Yeah,
like
totally.
indie pop rock of something like that. Deeper than that, man, I have no idea, because I think we probably all even hear different things out of the
Yeah.
same songs.
So do you, regarding what you listen to on your free time, do you guys think that you have a assortment of bands that you listen to that may be similar to what you're doing?
Oh no, not at all.
Not at all.
Really?
Not at all.
I do, but
Yeah, I think Joe does more, but I definitely don't.
No.
I appreciate that though, because I feel like, to me, if I were to say, these are 5 bands that I feel like we should be in the direction of, like I would want that to get modified, and I think it's really good that if I'm saying, hey, here's a song that I feel like is, it sounds like in the vein of an Imagine Dragons song, right? Like, I don't want it to sound like an Imagine Dragons song. I just, like, to me, maybe it has some sonic qualities that's a direction. And so, because of the fact that we all listen to different music and we all have different backgrounds, by the time the second or third person has added their part, it sounds nothing like what that originally
Yeah,
was.
totally.
And that's perfect. Like, that's kind of by design in my mind anyway.
Yeah, we get compared, or at least some of my friends say that we sound a lot like the Arctic Monkeys, which I'll take that.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'll take that for sure.
Absolutely. That's a huge compliment. See, that blows my mind. I love that, the fact that it's so many different bands you're listening to, and like what you talked about, Joe, with the idea of looking at the parts of songs that you like, the parts of bands that you like. You know, the whole idea of imitation. Like, there's so many bands out there that you listen to. It's like, oh, you know who they sound like? They sound like that band. Oh, they sound like this band, or they're very much, you know, going for this direction, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's also about, you know, finding your sound. And with you guys, from the experience that I've had with listening or, you know, being at your shows, you guys really do have your own sound. Like when a Mr. Call song comes on, it's like, shit, that's Mr. Call. Like, I can identify that.
Cool.
And like, you could totally say, like, oh yeah, that reminds me of this person or that person, but it's specific parts. It's beautifully put together. So
Cool.
props to you guys on that one.
What does that sound like to you then?
Yeah.
Because we have no idea what we sound like. We've successfully determined.
Well, see,
we
that's why I asked the question,
Completely
though.
unable to.
That's why I asked the question, because like I was when I told my sister we're going to a concert the other night at the Viper Room, which was fucking incredible, by the way. That was such a good show.
Thanks.
When I told her, she's like, "What kind of music they are?" I'm like, "Well, they're definitely a rock band, but they're not heavy rock. They're kind of indie, but they have really catchy hooks. I don't know. They're just really good." And then I thought, I was like, you know what? When I have these guys out, I gotta ask them what they think about it. So before we move any farther, I'd like to listen to one of your songs.
Absolutely.
And let's see what you're all about.
Awesome.
Here it goes. We're trying to navigate. It's a social war zone. Get on the right team. Be on the right team. Look up the lenses, face on the concrete. Kids lining up just to catch me on the news feed. And say they like me. I gotta thank you for holding me down, for holding me back, for holding me accountable for myself. I could buy. You're not my ghost anymore. You're not my ghost anymore. I let you go. I let you go. You're not my ghost anymore. You're not my ghost anymore. I let you go. I let you go. My body's weathered, torn up and haggard, dragged through the mud, but cut loose from the baggage. From the baggage. I gotta thank you for holding me down, for holding me back, for holding me accountable for myself. I could buy. You're not my ghost anymore. You're not my ghost anymore. I let you go. I let you go. You're not my ghost anymore. You're not my ghost anymore. I let you go. I let you go. It's such a war zone. Get on the right team. Be on the right team. It's a social war zone. Get on the right team. Be on the right team. You're not my ghost anymore. You're not my ghost anymore. I let you go. I let you. You're not my ghost anymore. You're not my ghost anymore. I let you go. I let you go. You're not my ghost anymore. You're not my ghost anymore. I let you go. I let you go. You're not my.
Well, goddamn. Yeah. Hell yeah. Give me some more of that. I love that.
Clap track. You have a clap track button?
Okay, I'll just the whole audience in the background. That's a great song. So that's called Ghost, or
Ghost, yeah.
just Ghost.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's that song about?
Ooh, I think this is a good Xavier story.
Yeah, it's about bullying, actually. I had been doing writing sessions with Joe in the early morning when I was working at my my graveyard shift job called Skyworks, and we would meet up at 6 in the morning to write. and this song came about. We were just throwing ideas, and I don't know, I had a problem with writing lyrics, so Joe kind of like sat me down and said, hey, just tell me a story and we'll go off of that. And I kind of ran it off of like this experience I had in high school where I was getting bullied by this junior when I was a freshman, and we kind of just went off of that. And Ghost is about just breaking away from the old you and say, I'm better than that and I can progress and move forward, and basically you're not my ghost anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I fucking love that.
yeah, now I'm not the skinny Xavier that I once knew.
You know, I've seen pictures.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I know, I've been in this body for a while, so
That's great. I love that. I really, I like the meaning. I like the story. I like that you guys are writing songs like that.
yeah.
I like that. That's
Yeah.
the direction. So we just talked about genre. We listened to a song, and I still couldn't tell you. But you guys have a sound. You definitely have a sound, your own sound. How did you guys get the sound? Was it something that happened organically? Did you guys just pick up your instruments and start going at it? Or was it like someone said, hey, this is what we're doing. This is the kind of sound we want. You know, walk me through that a little bit.
I feel like, for me anyway, that we tried for a while. Like for a while we were just kind of playing stuff, and it was kind of a little directionless, but it was kind of the period of getting the group together, and I think that was cool. And then we went through a little period of like, okay, how do we sound like something relevant, and how do we how do we intentionally sound like a genre or like a band or whatever. And that wasn't really good. And I feel like the most recent music was kind of more of when we said, how do we just play music that we like, that's accessible, and let's intentionally, actually we kind of had a little internal agreement that was no song it works if there are no kind of risks in the song,
Right.
And so that, I think for us, that kind of forced us to use some unique sounds and to use some unique effects and some just kind of weird things like that. In Ghost in particular, there's that little pre-chorus, almost like rap-like section right before the chorus drops, and like it was kind of more of a, you know what, like to us it sounds cool. Some people might like it, some people might not like it, and that's fine, because we like it, and we need that little risk factor, because otherwise it's just fine. You know, we don't want it to sound like music that is, just throwaway tracks. At least for me, I'll speak for me, I'd rather you really like it or you really don't like it, because that means it was specific enough that you're going to have that kind of reaction to
You
it.
want the extremes. You don't want middle ground.
Yeah. We've certainly written songs in the past, or we've I've sat down with at like industry kind of expos, and I've sat with like A&R people and played some like older tracks for them from us, and they're like, hey, this is cool, like it sounds like this band, it sounds like this band, but it's not, like what do you do with that? It's not it doesn't really matter if there isn't some sort of uniqueness to it. And I think that uniqueness can only possibly come from when you just stop trying to be something specific and just try to just do what like let it be art, and if it's great, cool, and if it's not cool, and you move on to the next song. But for me anyway, like that song and some of the more, I feel like the more successful songs we've had now come from that, of just saying like, let's just write music that we love, and just make sure that we incorporate some sort of risks in every song.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's like what me and Xavier were saying, that we don't really listen to the music that sounds like us, or like we don't like listen to things that are like even similar to us, because like that would be like, we don't play that because that would be safe for us,
Yeah, that makes sense.
So like it's really cool to step out of our own at least for myself, because like I come from like total blues, classic rock background, and I'm not playing that at all, which I still love it, but it's like I need something different, and doing this is like it's like a new challenge, and it's like a fun thing, and like I really do love the music that we're doing.
Xavier?
I totally agree. I'm just listening right now. I like it. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I feel like what I'm hearing is your sound is not necessarily just the actual music, but it's your intention behind the music. It's there is that risk factor, but it's also like the willingness to pay attention to what's going on within yourselves, to say, hey, this is what I want to be in my music more than what sounds like everyone else. And I think that's what's bringing a specific sound. I think that's why it's so easy to connect with your songs. I mean, your lyrics are phenomenal, Joe. The music is incredible, and it's all easy just to connect to. And some would call that pop or like, writing hits or whatnot. But that's why things become hits. That's why things are popular, because you can connect with them on so many different levels. Vibe with it, understand the lyrics, and really connect. So I appreciate what you guys are doing with that. I like that. I really like that answer.
Thank you.
Really, really like that answer.
Thank you.
And I just to interject there that the lyrics for us, like it's very much been a Xavier and Joe thing. I feel like we both have kind of specific roles in the writing, but it's definitely not like an all me thing at all.
I throw a lot of words that don't make sense, or just a lot of ramblings.
He's like
So you guys write together then, the
Yeah.
two of you, just so you guys only you two do the lyrics.
generally,
okay.
yeah.
And when it comes, so you come together, you sit down, you write the lyrics. As Gabriel, you said you throw words at Joe.
I throw words that don't make
he's
sense.
like the king of having content, and I
Fuck
think
yeah.
that for me
That's
like,
a big compliment right there.
it's huge, because for me, like I feel like I'm pretty good at coming up with like hooky melodies or like a hooky phrase here and there, but I almost have a more of like a producer type mindset, and I need something to produce.
Yeah.
And so Xavier comes to those sessions with just so much material that then we take it and we just completely chop it up and rearrange it and we turn it into something. But like none of those songs would do anything if that weren't there, for sure. Like we're very dependent on, I feel like, that process of both of us being involved.
Yeah.
See, I think that's a very difficult thing to do. I think you guys have it down. The dynamic is really, really good for you guys, but I think that's a difficult thing to do, especially with lyrics, because when people write words that are meaningful, each word having a meaning, to give it to someone else and have them, put their hands on it, the collaboration factor is such a thing that's missing. So do you ever like reach a point where like you bring content to Joe and say, hey, this is what I want, and then he changes it up? Do you ever reach a point where you're like, oh, I don't like that, I'm not feeling that, like you feel like it's being taken away from you at all, or is it still kind of we're making this together to make it better?
In the beginning, when he first joined the band, when I had all these songs and he was changing them up, I was really upset. Really upset. I didn't say anything though, because I thought of the bigger picture at the time. Still, I thought, okay, let me just take a step back. But in my heart, I was really hurt that he did anything to the songs that I made.
I'm sorry.
Hey, it's creative. It's part of the creative process. We create, we're vulnerable, we're raw, and it
Right.
feels like our own child. you know?
Yeah.
I think the writing sessions, once it became like that was at the beginning where they were a band and I was coming into the band, and I kind of came in because I liked aspects of what they were doing, but one of the things I even asked while I was auditioning with a band was like, hey, like if I come in, I want to be active, I want to be a member here, like,
Yeah.
are you guys cool with me kind of screwing with things? And they were, but I think it was a newer experience for Xavier.
Yeah.
But then as we started intentionally writing together, I feel like, at least for me, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like we kind of had an agreement of like, hey, we're gonna throw out everything and assume that we're gonna screw with each other
Right.
here.
No, yeah,
and
that's
be okay with it.
Exactly right, because now I'm like, I have all this stuff and I need Joe to make this right, because this is awful and I need you to make it okay.
It's never off.
You were on here for episode 2 and you put yourself down one too many times. And I told you if you did it again, especially on the air,
It's
I'm gonna
true though.
beat
I have
the
a lot of
crap out
stuff.
of you.
It just needs to be molded correctly, you know.
You have content that's waiting to be made even better.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
Ways
That
of
is
phrasing
true.
that.
Okay, yeah.
Really, like a lot of those songs would not. Ghost is a perfect example, like where that song was in the works. It went through like 7 different revisions that were like different genres, and I'm not talking about rewrites of like a couple things. They were overhauls, but for some reason it kept sticking around, and like that definitely would have never have happened if it weren't for that content that Xavier is. He's not. I'm more confident, I think, in what he brings to the table than he is, and I certainly appreciate it, because those songs just wouldn't happen otherwise.
Thank you so much.
That's a phenomenal dynamic. You guys really have that down. That's I'm impressed. Props to you guys again. So where does the music come into play? Do the riffs just kind of come out? I mean, Lyle, where do you fall in place? Do you write riffs? Do you write the chords? Or
Lyle writes riffs.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the song. Like
Bumper sticker.
Lyle
like-
writes riffs. I like that.
Like Ghost had a really go back and Ghost. It had a really cool just foundation, and I just I wanted it simple, and so did Joe, and we kind of just went back and forth with like just parts. I was like, oh, chords here, chords there. Like I actually play maybe 2 chords twice in the whole song, and it's just all like single note, like heavy guitar that I don't even use like live, but it's like heavy guitar mixed with like cool, like what's it called, like the electronic like drops almost, and then some high melody, like some high like little melodic stuff during the chorus, and it's just like I like to add just like, because like I said, I come from the the bluesy kind of classic rock background, which is like all chords and all that kind of crap, but like I've taken out a lot of that and added just like color stuff more so than like just being like a lead, quote unquote lead guitarist, just like throwing in just like color stuff to fill in different spots of the song.
So you said you played a different guitar for the recording.
Yeah, like I actually, because like
What kind of guitar?
I used my my Gibson Les Paul for that, versus I use like a Tele or a Strat when I play live, because
So the opposite of Jimmy Page then.
yeah, pretty much.
A Telly in the studio, a Les Paul on stage.
Exactly, yeah. But it just like I needed that extra like oomph
That
through like
thickness.
the thickness for the sound, just because it brought out a lot of like growliness in that melody part.
So you guys write the lyrics first then for pretty much all the songs. The lyrics kind of start and then the music comes, or does the music ever come and you guys write lyrics to the song?
I'd say it depends. The most recent the newest song that we have it actually came from something that Lyle brought in. That it started with a guitar riff, and then it's kind of same deal, kind of the dude, I hope you don't mind if we completely overhaul this thing, but I feel like it worked out.
Oh yeah.
And that was totally music first.
Right on.
For me, it's a lot easier to not do it that way. It's generally like it's a lot easier for me to be driven by a lyric or a melody, and like the music to me. Honestly, the music to me comes a lot easier than the lyric and melody portion of it. So when I can latch onto something, the lyric or melody wise, the rest just kind of it feels like the
follows.
rest just comes so easy. The reverse is a lot harder for me, but I feel like it works, and it helps. It also helps get a lot more. Kind of flavor from everybody else in the band, because they're not worried about trying to fit with a vocal melody or a lyric yet. They're gonna just do what sounds great to them, and I feel like that just gives everyone more of a chance to can contribute something that's unique.
I think it allows a lot more layering too in the band.
Sure.
It's not just the same. Everyone's doing the same exact melody over each other, so it's just really loud. But actual layering, like what guitar part goes well with Joe's vocal
Exactly.
melody. Like, see that right there. That's what makes it or break it for me. Like, I love that shit.
Especially at rehearsal for the most recent song, Joe's really nitpicky on everybody's parts.
Just on this newest song.
Yeah, well, that's true. In general, but I just remember him staring at Tyler, working for his part, then staring at Lyle, and Lyle can get it in like whatever 2 seconds.
Except that one time, but
Yeah,
we'll go back to that.
my God.
No, all right, we'll go back to
One
that.
time, the one time you're
There
never
was
gonna
literally
live down.
one time ever, but it was hilarious.
And then staring at me, and like, you know, I have to figure this out now, and like accompany everybody with my bass part, which, you know, it's really easy. So I don't mind playing, you know, one note the entire song.
Oh, come on now.
No, he
You do not
literally
play
does
one
not
note.
even care if he's playing. Like, he would play a keyboard. He does not care at all. He just wants to be doing music, doing the band.
As
doing
long
the
as the song is like phenomenal, I can play one note the entire song and be like, yes.
and be
I
like,
did
my band
something."
is playing at the Viper on Monday night. I'm in.
Yeah.
You're like the ultimate band member.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And the funny thing is that Xavier's a good bass player. Like, he's a really good bass player. He doesn't give himself enough credit.
I know. Don't worry, we're gonna gang up on him after. He'll write another song about us bullying him.
All right. You're still my ghost.
You're not skinny anymore, but we'll take it. So, amidst all the writing, is there like just like a way to decide when the song is done? Like, who decides that? Like,
Song's
all right,
never done.
The song's never done.
No.
The song is
Okay,
done
well,
when
song go in the
somebody
studio.
hands you a bunch of money for the song. Like, that's
true.
that's the point when that song is done. Until that point, in my mind, it's always gonna.
Well,
be
how
a work
about
in
like the say the
progress.
first session in the studio? Like, okay, we got this far. This song's good enough. We're gonna sit down and record it. Like, what are the necessities for the song to reach that point?
I feel like I'm talking too much, you guys.
I don't know. I think for that, like, it's like when it's really hard to explain. Like, the cop out answer is when the song feels right, but like even then, yeah, even then when the song feels right, there's still more that can be done or some stuff that can be taken out. I mean, I think for me, when I'm satisfied with the song, it's just when everything like finally melds like the right way. I think like when we like obviously there's like a difference between recording it and then playing it. So like I think when we can successfully play it and be like, oh shit, like that sounds really really good, then a song can be done. But speaking of the last song we did, we thought it sounded great because it did sound great, but then we kind of took a step back and listened to it again, and we kind of changed the whole course of that song. That was the one I kind of had the hand in like writing the music for. But this other direction, it feels more like what's the word? Relevant. It feels more relevant, and like it feels like it's a more relatable song now.
Okay.
Like it feels like it grooves a little bit better. It like, I don't know, like, you know, like Joe said, like a song is really never done until we, you know, get handed a bunch of money for it.
That's a first statement.
Yeah.
First statement.
That's true.
So I guess so like if you guys sat down to play the song you've written to a certain extent, you're gonna go in the studio and you play it all the way through and you don't really feel any bumps along the way. You feel like you have enough substance behind it, enough melodies, enough everyone has their part down. That's when you would sit down to record it and then move from there.
I think for us, we've hit a point with our songs, at least the the last, I would say the good songs, if you will, where they're pretty big. There's a lot of there's a decent amount of production in those songs.
I love them.
And I think for us, what our goal is when we're writing is to get the song to the point where, okay, like we have everything that we need, where the production process is going to fill in the gaps to make it sound like a finished Mr. Call song. And so until it's at the point where we can just add those types of production touches, it's just extra layers, auxiliary kind of stuff, the stuff that's it's buried in the song but it just fills it out. Like if we want the song to sound solid on its own without that, but then once we're at a point where like we can start identifying, okay, like this is going to be great once we put those little pieces in, then I feel like that's when we take it to the studio, and then we actually finish it in the studio. We never, for us, any song that we've called done, even to us, with the It's Never Done standard. Anything we've ever called done, it was finished in the studio. Like the last version before it went to the studio sounds drastically different from what was the
Right.
finished.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Totally.
people listening should take notes on what you just said. Like, that is such a fucking true statement. I love hearing that. That is so true. The willingness, like, hey, we have the song, we got to take it to the studio to really dig into it even more. Like,
Yeah.
That's where great shit comes.
Yeah.
That excited me. So with your music, so you talked about Ghost being, about bullying, and there was a message behind it. So what's the theme of your music? Like, what's the motivation behind it? Are you guys trying to write from like the rawest place possible and just write what you want no matter what? Or are you guys trying to go in there and write hits? Are you trying to like, what's, and I mean, I imagine you're going to do both of that, a little bit of
Right,
both, but
right.
like where do those two meet?
Well, I'm all about writing hits, but
The one note bass guy?
Yeah. You heard.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
But my feelings get in the way of that sometimes.
Get in the way?
Yeah. So sometimes
I don't know.
sometimes emotions calls for different songs. Mr. Call.
He does that.
I do that a lot. I'm sorry.
Trademark.
Sometimes
Everyone has
emotions
this thing, I guess.
get in the way and calls for different songs. So Salem was about heartbreak. Waiting was about drugs. Ghost is about bullying. So now.
So how does that get in the way? That literally brought you the motivation to write the song.
Yeah. So I guess for me it's just I don't know, man. I'm still trying to write a hit. So I'll let you know when I find that theme.
I think Xavier is awesome at showing up with like raw emotion on paper. Like actually in our writing process, we hit a point where I actually said like, dude, don't write a song. Like, don't even show up with like this thing in song form. Don't worry about structure or rhyming or like anything. Like we hit a couple songs, and I don't remember which they were at the time, but where it was really pretty much a poem that he'd written, and we hit a point where I said, dude, just show up with poems then. Like, don't worry about any of the structure, just write raw content. And then kind of more where my role comes in that writing process is then, okay, how do we find the hooks in that? How do we convert pieces of this to little hooks and kind of popify it? So I don't think
like
it's
that popify.
yeah, right. It's
a good word.
I don't think it starts from the like for me if I'm starting a song, like it usually starts based on some sort of poppy hooky kind of like I'm aiming for that type of song kind of always, but that doesn't mean it's like one of the better songs. Like when Xavier shows up with his content and then we work together on kind of finding the hooks in that and then changing it, I feel like that's when things start to work really well. So it's kind of both.
I think what I'm hearing is that you guys really bring your raw, vulnerable, sensitivity to the table, and then once you have that, you have set a standard to what it needs to sound like if I'm going to express it.
Yeah.
That's
I think
badass.
it's a good description.
I like that.
It is.
Xavier, you're going to write a hit.
I'm-
I think you've already written some.
Dude,
I think it's
I
only a
know.
matter of time.
It's a matter of time. That's it's another hook for another song. Stay tuned.
Matter of time.
Well,
Oh, we actually literally have a song in the works right now.
Yeah.
That is
yeah,
a matter of time.
with that hook.
It's not like the Foo Fighters one, is it?
No, not at all.
I wouldn't think so.
It's like Foo Fighters on a pirate ship.
Foo Fighters on a pirate ship. Now that I would pay. I'd go to that show. I'd go to that show. I'd dress up for that show. I'll tell you that much. So you guys you're not a heavy metal band. You're not shredding all the time. No shredding guitar solos. You're not not doing like Freddie Mercury singing. You're not a Victor Wooten bass player.
No.
So you're not, technique is not theirs. But how important is musicianship on that level to you? Like when you guys personally pick up your instruments or you sing, are you picking it up to be the absolute best at it, or are you picking it up to be the best for the band?
Oh man, that's hard. Because I'd like to think that I'm picking it up and I want to be the absolute best at it, but there's always going to be someone better than me.
Of course.
But no one can do what I can do, which is my own thing, which is I don't know what it is yet until, I get that money.
You need to get your head out of that place. You're lucky you got band members like these to keep you grounded.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I just bring a bunch of stuff and then,
What about you, Lyle, as a guitar player?
I think as a guitar player, as a guitar player, we're always inclined to want to do guitar solos, and I grew up doing a bunch of improv and all that stuff. Coming from playing the sax and playing jazz and all that kind of stuff, but playing guitar in this group, I've kind of tried to find my own place as far as what's appropriate, not so much what makes me stand out, because who gives a shit if you stand out? No one really cares unless your name is Steve Vai or somebody like that.
That's good.
We're not shredding, we're not doing all that kind of shit. So I think the thing is for me, I want to bring what's right, not so much what is the best I can do. Obviously, I try to play the best I can, but as far as what's appropriate for the music and what it calls for. Just a call.
Nice.
So what about outside the band though? When you're practicing your guitars and whatnot, do you sit down and practice guitar? Do you still run your scales? Are you trying to get better technique wise, quicker, or is that something that's not really in the forefront?
As far as I teach guitar too.
You have a choice then.
Yeah, so I'm always running over fundamentals and going over scales and making sure all that is in order. But my goal for playing guitar was never to play fast, because I don't have the dexterity to play. I have small little stubby fingers.
He really does, guys.
I'll have to post a picture of just the fingers.
So I don't play fast. I don't shred. I'm not a super technical guitar player, but I like to think that what I practice more is I play a lot of feeling, and I think that's what I bring a lot to the group as far as musicianship is I bring what I feel I think is correct is it's a lot of the times correct, which is nice, and everybody kind of agrees with it. And sometimes I throw in some stuff that isn't so relevant to the group, which is my bluesy stuff. But I get a lot of flack for that. But it's all I'm just open to criticism, and I love it, and I kind of thrive off it, and I really enjoy it. But as far as when I practice coming up with new chord progressions and kind of thinking outside the box, and then Joe puts me back in the box a little bit, and we fight each other and go back and forth, and that's what I like. It's an open discussion. It's not just so much just we gotta play these 4 chords because everybody plays 1, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
It's a lot of everything's kind of changes, and that's what I really enjoy.
So when you pick up the guitar and you're messing around, you say it's 90% or even 100% for the band. Do you ever have times where you sit down you just feel like writing something that you like, whether it's bluesy, rocky, whatever it is, that's not for the band?
When I pick up my guitar, when I'm just writing, it's typically for the band.
Okay.
When I pick up my guitar because I do like my blues and I do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll play all that kind of stuff and just have fun with that. I'll turn on my looper and just I'll play with myself for 15 minutes.
Nice.
With the looper pedal, huh?
With the looper pedal.
Is that code or something? Code word?
Yeah, it's a code. But yeah, that's kind of typical. My practice should be more, just I try to learn different scales and modes and work on my music theory. A lot of that, I get a lot of practice working on my music theory and stuff with my students too, which kind of brings me back to my fundamentals, which is really, really nice, because I never actually took lessons to play guitar. So kind of re-teaching myself to play guitar, and at that point getting better as a musician too.
Hell yeah. Keeps your chops up too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Are you kidding? I still metronome every single day. I still run my natural
Nice.
minors, groups of 4, triplets, all that shit, dude.
Oh yeah. Metronome all the time. Slow it down.
It haunts you.
Oh yeah. Play
I've
as
had
slow as you
dreams with
can.
a metronome. I'm not even kidding. I've had dreams.
God.
Oh, God.
I would call them nightmares. But
Oh,
I've had
yeah.
yeah.
Just
just going and constantly. No matter what you're doing, it's there.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yikes.
So, regarding roles, everyone has a role in the band. Joe, you're the front man, I'd say. You sing, you're up front. Obviously, you have to sing, and you move around. You have more freedom for that. But what is your role? Like, if you were to look at your bandmates and say, "Hey guys, this is my job in the band." Whether it's I gotta practice and working on my voice, I can't drink too much because it'll hurt my vocal cords, or when I'm on stage, I gotta be grabbing the audience. Like, what specifically for Joe being the front man is the role?
I guess I would say it's just to push and to lead, in the sense that I think everyone has great ideas, and that everyone we all have a pretty common goal, and I think that a lot of times people just need to be pushed in any direction, whether it's like right or wrong. I think that sometimes musicians in general, especially, are just hesitant to execute on an idea. Whether it's thinking that maybe it will not be a good idea, or who knows, I guess. I think a lot of times it's just we need to push and say, you know what, we're going to see this thing down a direction. I don't care if it's right or wrong. Let's just go down that direction. And if it's great, cool. If it's not, let's make it wrong quickly and move on to the next thing. Like fail fast, and move on to the next thing. And I think that a big part of my role with the group is just to kind of always be helping push us in a direction, and hopefully that we're on a good path. But if we're not, like, let's do the shit out of the wrong path and cross it off the list and move on to the next one. And I guess for me that's kind of it. It's just like let's all feel good doing something right or wrong, and then move on to the next thing.
You got to pick up the sword and shield and be the first one in a battle.
Yeah. I don't mind. I don't mind being wrong as long as we did it and did it thoroughly.
So what about on stage? What do you mean? Obviously, you have to sing. The band is a whole experience, having more than one person on the stage. But you're singing, you're talking to the audience. Do you have like a special technique, a series of phrases or anything, or is it really raw on stage of like grabbing the audience and interacting?
It's funny. I feel like for us, and this is one of my things when you go and see a band that you don't know, and I feel like we're at this kind of interesting stage where we have a bunch of people at the shows who know us, and we have a bunch of people at the shows who don't know us. And when you go and see a band that you don't know, for me anyway, like, I don't want to hear them talk. I don't want to hear their theories about present day politics. Like, I don't want to hear.
You're there for music.
I want to hear like the best stuff they got, and then I want to move on to the next thing. And if it's something that I really liked, I'll find them and I'll track them down, and then I'll be a fan. But like, so rarely is a band gonna win me over because of what the guy is saying between the songs. And so for me, I want to pack our set full of songs that we really like, and I want us to play them with energy, and I want to help lead the energy that we have, in hopes that invokes energy from the people in the crowd watching us. But I say very little usually at our shows, very intentionally, because I don't think there's a lot of value in it. Like, we're not a political band. We don't have a message. Our message, if anything, is just we just want to have fun and entertain. And
rule number one, you got to entertain.
Play good music. So like, I don't, I don't really have phrases. I'm certainly comfortable on a mic in front of a bunch of people, but I just don't care to say anything, because I feel like the music itself conveys what we care about as a band, and I don't really want anybody to care about what I think about individually, because that's just not who we are.
So what if you're playing a show and like it's very clear, like maybe you lose the audience completely? Do you ever like go on the mic and say something in between that might grab their attention so they pay attention to the next song? Not even about the song, but just, something random?
Oh, probably. I mean, we've certainly had some shows where we interacted more and kind of screwed with people a little bit or whatever, but that's...
I do that a lot on stage.
Yeah, but it's never specific content. It's more comes from, like, I've played in cover bands before. I've played in like the 80s tribute band thing where the whole show is shtick and the whole show is screwing around and whatever. And so it's certainly something that I'm comfortable and happy to do if this, like, if it's a tiny room and no one's paying any attention or whatever. Like, I have no problem running around and messing around with people, or we've done some kind of fun stuff before. But for the most part, we try our best to put the energy in where we don't really lose the room very much. I don't mean that in like a cocky way.
That. No, I definitely that's.
I feel like generally speaking, we start and people are like, they're pretty.
There's no drudging along.
Yeah,
it's everything is. I mean, even your sound is very specific. Like even the song, start to finish, the changes, the melodies, the chords, everything is very. Especially when there's good sound.
Yeah.
Totally.
Sound guys, god damn it. Fucking sound guys. Well, what do you guys think? Do you guys like the idea of putting as many songs in and keeping the energy there, or would you would you prefer more speaking to the audience? How do you guys feel about that?
I would say, okay, one of my favorite bands is Hippocampus.
Okay.
And they definitely put on a story behind their lifestyle. I've watched their YouTube videos and stuff, but they're a very chill band, so I guess they're allowed to do that. They don't have really high energy, so for us, because we have such bigger songs and like bigger choruses, I just want to just keep going and going and going and going and nonstop. I don't really care about the story. Unless,
Well, it's not really an intimate setting for you guys.
Right.
And I think that's the big one. Like, for me, when I perform, it's just me and an acoustic guitar. Like, I have as big as a song can get with just that. And, I do a lot. I mean, I don't talk between every single song, but I'll, like, take, like, a few seconds to some, you guys have seen me, like, mess with the audience or, like,
totally.
about the song and keep a lighter mood, because a lot of my songs are really intense. But it's also, like, a very intimate setting. But I could totally see myself if I had a full band. I think there'd be a lot less of that. So I like what you said, because it's like, you really have to know what you're doing up there. Like you said, the Hippocampus, and they're not like you guys. They're not as lively, not as big. And you guys have this huge sound that once you engulf people in that, like, we're there. We're fucking there with you. And you do not lose us until the very end.
And I think, honestly, I think we would if I were going to stop and tell stories. Like, unless I had like some really amazing story that if I can match the energy of those songs with a story, man, I don't have those stories.
Yeah.
Like it.
Well, see, that's something I really, even me, I pay attention to in the live shows. Like, you look at bands, like, what are they about? Like, you guys know what you're about, and the fact that you're not sitting and talking, like, you know what you're bringing to the stage. Some bands, like, it's not that necessarily the music is bad, that they're talking in between the sets more, but it's a different type of music. Like, you have to know what you're doing, and I think you guys really have that down. You as a front man, this is why I asked you that question. I was curious on how you saw your role in the band, especially on stage, off stage, because I've even told this to Xavier behind your back. That guy is a front man. That guy was born to be a front man. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, you heard it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you heard it.
Also, I mean, we're an LA band, and LA, you get a fixed amount of time, and it is like, it is very
Fucking
often
LA.
you get 30 minutes. You might get 35 or 40, but like that's what you get. In our set, like where I'm from the Midwest. Like, you get booked, you're filling an hour one way or another, and you could be the first opening band of the night, like the just crappiest band, and you're an hour. Here it's like you get such a limited amount of time that you just fill it with fun. Unless you better have, if you tell a story, like, it better be the most entertaining thing. Like, if you're not like a stand-up comedian with a really great routine, or if you're not, delivering a political message or something, which again we don't care about, like, you got to have something that's gonna bring like that level of energy. Like, keep playing, man. Just no one cares. Like, not in a bad way, but literally, you're better off playing the music.
Yeah.
Just play the music.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. All right, yeah. Well, we're gonna, and I want to. I'm very curious. A lot of this is about me talking to guests here, and it's about what I want to talk about, what I want to know about you guys. So I know that you guys have had trouble with band members. You've kicked a few out, lost a few members, and whatnot. And I'm not really curious on why, but the fact of the matter is, I know you guys lost a keys player and a drummer all in like a matter of 3-4 days. That happened, or like
it was tight. It was a tight window of time.
Yeah,
and you guys were playing a lot of shows at the time, or were just getting ready. You had recorded some stuff. You guys were moving forward, and you get hit with this big blow. You get hit with this big blow.
Yep.
And what I found incredible, at least from my point of view, is you guys stayed so strong together. You guys didn't miss a beat. So what was it? What did you guys do? Was there something specific that you guys like talked to each other about? So we got to stay together. What was your plan of action for that? Because you guys, it was so smooth.
Dude, honestly, I don't know. Because like when
well, changes had to be made, right?
When we had no drummer and it was just us three, like I thought like, oh fuck, this is it, and like this is the end of it. We had barely a band. We were thinking of putting things on Craigslist, but no drummer or key player was gonna want to join a band with no, or key player wouldn't want to join a band with a drummer. Drummer doesn't want to join a band unless we had our shit together, and we didn't have our shit together. But we were still. This is by the time we were still writing, we were still tracking Ghost, and I think it was just, for me at least, was like, okay, we gotta at least finish this song. We gotta at least get this song out there and see what happens, because a drummer, it's LA, man. Should be a drummer who wants to play with us because of our songs. There should be a drummer who wants to play with us.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Keep those up.
And they should know that I'm here to write hits.
So you lose the drummer, you lose the keys, you lose a lot, you lose the fucking thickness.
We lose a lot. Yeah.
And you're in the middle of tracking the song. Like, was there ever a moment where you guys kind of just lost hope within each other? Like, or did you guys really stand together as a team and said there was
definitely not. No.
I think in that period we had played a show, then we kind of had no drummer, and then we took like a week or two off, maybe, kind of got our shit together, and then I think not even a month later, we finished writing and tracked Ghost, and it's one of our coolest. I think it's one of our coolest songs, and like we did that without a drummer. Like we got all of our heads out of our asses, and like we believe. I mean, the thing is, we believe in each other like a lot. So like, a lot of it is just like trust in each other and trust in like faith in each other and all that. That we had our shit together enough, and we kind of Joe did a lot of the hard work to put together all the sounds and everything for Ghost and made it kind of what it was, because that was one that we constantly fought ourselves on, because like Joe said, it went through like how many, like 7 or 8 iterations before we landed on the one that we landed on.
Damn.
And it was something really cool. It was like just us three, and just kind of like, hey, like, we're gonna fucking do this song. So I think it was a great song. Like for we were kind of in Joe's the shoffice.
The shoffice.
He's got a little office in the back of his house.
Yeah.
Called the shop office. Shoffice.
Shoffice.
Probably like, how big is it?
It's not big.
It's like 10. It's like
8 by 12.
Yeah, like 8 by 12.
So you guys don't think you missed a beat then? You guys just, it was a little rough, but you guys kept moving.
As far as shows, we missed a beat because we went through, I think, from like July to like last maybe November, that we didn't really play any shows. But then got our shit together. Tyler came in, killed it, and we've kind of been writing and practicing and doing different shit and playing different shows and played Xavier's birthday and everybody came out. And
That was a great show
Viper
as well.
Room was our last show, and that was just like, we got invited to play Viper Room from Eric Hemmel, and that was just a great show. And I think we really kind of bounced back pretty quick from that.
I even noticed you were playing some keys up there, Joe.
Yeah, well, so some of the songs are pretty dependent on that. Like there's a lot of stuff where we use tracks live. We fill out again. Our songs are meant to be huge.
Yeah.
And we want to give a full sound, a full produced sound, and I don't feel bad about that. But there's certain things that you just can't put in tracks live. In Salem, for instance, that song is piano is up front
yes.
the entire song. And it's just got to be there, and to have that be tracked is just kind of lazy, and that's I like the idea of tracking for for fullness and to give a full produced sound, to give an experience. For me, that's what backing tracks are all about. It's just to provide an experience. But there's also another point where if it extends where your primary parts of a song are tracked, that's just lazy.
Yeah.
And that's
Backing
not
tracks.
Yeah.
Keyword backing.
Yeah, that's not how we roll. So it kind of just turned into a thing where we needed those parts filled, and we just kind of had to do it, and it was a lot easier than finding somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole other element. So.
I love how smooth. I mean, even the way you talk about it, I'm sure it was difficult, but I love how there was no question as to okay, this is what we have to do. We're going to do it. I feel like I see a lot of even young musicians and even bands where something like that happens. All right, we're just not going to have keys anymore. Just take it out completely. That didn't seem like to be a thought for you guys, and I really appreciate that. That's I feel like that's a place where a lot of bands will slip up and will lose their sound, will get lazy. But when I saw you playing keys the other night, I was like, damn, good for them. They're not just taking the easy way out. I was like, well, I'm a singer, so I'm just gonna keep doing this. You're like, no, it's all about the sound. So
I think for us, like you said, there was we had big changes in the band that happened pretty quickly, and right around that time, I feel like for us, we had just really hit a stride of, like I said, we went through transitions of trying to figure out what our sound even was, and we had, at least for me, we had just hit a stride where we actually figured out what that sound was, and for me, it was not an option to say, oh, well, the band changed, so now we're gonna change that sound. For me, it was we found the direction that we wanted to go. We're gonna keep that direction and
hold
so
that standard.
and that's why we had the keys went the way they did, and we found Tyler, the drummer that we found, is awesome, and he does the acoustic drum kit. He'll do the electronic kit with pads. He's a tech dude like me, so he's all about running tracks and just doing whatever it takes from a technical perspective to produce what you want to produce, and that's why we wanted him in the group. That
Shout out to Tyler.
shout out to Tyler.
Shout out to Tyler. Wish you were here.
Big ups to Canada. And so it was really kind of about, hey, we got something going now that we like, and that's what mattered to us. Whether other people cared about it, we didn't
No
really
fucking
mind.
compromise, man. No
Yeah.
fuck. I love that. Yes.
And at that's when we just said, you know what, that's we got to run with that. It's got the emergency alert thing. You guys are gonna get it any second now. But
Emergency alert. Floods.
you're right. So yeah.
So, I do a solo act, so I don't have any.
I know, it's awesome.
So thank you.
He's
I don't.
he's super modest. He is he played with us actually
opened up
at
for you
a
guys.
show in Santa Monica, and it was absolutely awesome. The crowd absolutely loved it. It was an awesome show. So yeah,
I appreciate that. Thank
don't
you.
let them sneak the modesty on through there. We'll stop that.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you. But I get to do everything on my own. So if I'm going to be dishonest, it's with myself. But when you're in a band and I don't have the experience, so I'm curious, what's the level of honesty and how important is it? Like, how do you deal with it? So, if someone is doing something that you really don't like, that will hurt their feelings or may cause some trouble, do you keep it in? Do you walk away? Do you let it go? Or do you straight up right there just fucking say it? Or do you wait for the right time? I mean, how do each of you deal with that?
I'm glad you brought that up because we've been meaning to talk Xavier.
I love it.
I'm talking too much. You guys.
I'll say anything, like, pretty honestly, especially to these guys, because they make fun of me anyway. So, with everything. So I might as well just, be as honest as I can. Actually, I'm learning to be even more honest.
More honest than
Yeah.
honest.
So like no sugarcoating. No sugarcoating.
So it's harsh. Like, it's not intentionally mean, but like if you got to say something, it comes
I think
out.
everything with me, there's a little bit of humor behind it because, even though I mean it, it's because I care, and I care about you, and I don't know. I don't know. I'll be honest, but it's just. But I'll also be funny about it.
I think the thing is, like, if it's just like a negative thing and we have something pressing coming along, then we have to find the right time. Obviously, we don't want to have bad vibes before a show or anything like that. And we generally don't. Like, I don't think there's been bad vibes at all. And, like, everybody's very open to criticism, which is a good thing. Like, if we had, the four of us, including Tyler, and one of us couldn't take criticism, then obviously, like, saying something that's not even so much that it's hurtful, but that it's like, hey, like, you're doing the part wrong. Like, some people can take that wrong because it's just like, some people get their
pride
feelings
may
hurt.
come into effect there.
Exactly. Like, but I mean, shit, me and Joe have been, I know I've been doing this for going on 16 years. So I was 13 with, older dudes, and Joe's been doing it for longer. That we're kind of used to the criticism and the, like, hey, like, you're, messing up a part, or, this part's inconsistent or whatever. I don't think any of us take it the wrong way, because like Xavier was saying, like, everything's done with love. Like, nothing's done, intentionally mean. That would be like, what's the point then? Just being
it's not
a dick.
constructive.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just being a dick to be a dick. Like, except for me to Xavier, like, I'm like that all the time because Xavier deserves it. But no, like, even when I
Goes to
like harshly joke with Xavier, it's out of love, and like, Xavier, like, I think Xavier made an Instagram post about me messing one of my parts up. That I don't like, not to toot my own horn, I don't often mess parts up.
He never does.
But like,
Thanks for chatting.
I had a hard time with the part. Xavier just like filmed me, and I was like, "You son of a bitch."
Dude, but that's like the only time that Lyle's ever really messed up, and I got to witness it because it's always me. But this is the only time. This is the only chance I got, and I was just loving it, eating it.
But even at that point, like, I know Xavier's doing it like jokingly, and it's coming from a good place. It's not coming from like overt harshness. So I think, like, as far as like being able to criticize each other, I think everybody takes it pretty well, and like, we just, if something's like wrong, then we'll just say something's wrong.
So that's with the music, and I think that's extremely necessary. I like that. But what about, like, you know, someone shows up one day and they just have a shitty attitude, and they're like, something's going on in their life that maybe you don't know about, but you're like, hey, you need to fucking get over right now. We're at practice. I mean, it's kind of like on the more personal level. Are you guys involved in the personal live aspect? Do you guys like hang out outside of practice in the band? Like, how close are you? Are you guys like close friends, or are you just band members?
I'd like to say that I hang out with everyone on different occasions. It's just, I don't know, I'm not getting too close, but I'm getting close enough.
So you guys could be personal. Like, so Xavier comes in, he's having a shitty day, and like he's fucking up his parts and he has a bad attitude. You know, one of you says, Xavier,
Yeah,
that's a shit.
I'm sure somebody would say something.
I think I could definitely think of at least generically times where, you know, we've looked at each other and said, hey, dude, like you know,
Yeah.
you all
Sorry
right?
for making
like,
the
You look
example.
a little.
It's okay.
It's likely to be him. You know, you doing all right? Like something looks off, and I feel like it's a group where everyone is close enough to where you can say like, yeah, dude, sorry, I just had the worst day, unrelated entirely to the band, or you know, I had X experience, and it's good. Like I feel like we're pretty good about, if we in this group of 4 people, if we detect that, we can kind of bring it up, even in the group of 4 people. We can bring it up and you're like, let somebody dump, you know, let somebody say, yeah, this sucked, and and then we can move on together. I feel like it works pretty well.
What if someone misses practice for a shitty reason?
Like Disneyland.
Is that Xavier too?
No, it's Lyle.
Oh.
Lyle and his season pass, and his $700 season pass.
$700?
More than that.
Is it really?
How much is it for a season pass?
Yeah, well, here's the deal. You don't really live anything down in this band. Like,
Yeah.
that's
I think, you know what? I think that's so important though, because it's not like you guys are actually bad at each other, but like this kind of shit, like, you know, 10 years from now when you guys are selling records and all that shit, you know, making it,
Hell yeah.
like this is the kind of shit that's gonna be gold. But you know, funny enough, we're laughing about it now, but a lot of bands, stupid shit like a season passes to Disneyland, the three other dudes would sit down and be like, you know what, Lyle's got to go, dude. That's a real factor. You guys, like, I mean, I'm impressed.
Next thing you know, you got like 14-year-old girls making fake Instagram accounts of Lyle fan page and his Disneyland posts. Dude, you never know,
That
man.
could
Is this a
happen.
thing?
It could- yeah.
By the
well,
way, that's fine if you guys want to do that. We don't mind.
Make a fan page for Mr. Call.
Yeah, for Lyle.
Just Lyle.
Lyle doing Disneyland things.
Yeah. We gotta come up with a clever name for it, like Lyle at Disney, some stupid shit like that.
All right.
So
Get over
so
yourself.
you sound like you've been playing guitar a long time, doing a lot of different projects. So before Mr. Call, what were you doing? Like, what was your main gig?
Shit. Before Mr. Call, here in California, because I'm not originally from here, I was just doing cover bands, and we were, you know, rehearsing once a week. I don't know why we were rehearsing covers. Like, honestly, okay. So here's my take on it, and this isn't knocking anybody that wants to practice once a week, or like this isn't knocking anybody that wants to practice once a week. But I think everybody, like, it's cover music. It's already written. You're not writing anything new. Just practice it on your own and have your shit ready to go. Like, you know, I have the old cover band that I used to play with still
Still a
calls me.
sore wound, it seems, for you.
No, it's really not. It's just like the rehearsal was in Westlake Village, and I live in Santa Clarita, so that's like an hour
Sweet
drive
shit.
each time on Monday.
For not even your songs.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then, like, we would go play a gig, and I'd get paid like maybe $100. And if you add up all that time, like, it's like 10 hours of work for $100. Like, I'm getting paid $10 an hour. That's like really not worth my time. But like, I still love the dudes that I played with. They're older guys, and like one older lady singer. And they call me every once in a while, and like, I have a lot of fun. But I don't need to practice that shit. I've been playing that shit forever. And but before that, I was doing like it was like a funk jazz fusion kind
Weren't
of.
you touring as well?
I was touring. I toured like
He
it
was
was like
touring.
8 years ago. We went national.
Whatever.
It was like from Boston to Portland. It was a great experience, and like
Fucking Xavier.
one of those things like I really want to do again. Like,
Well, soon to come with Mr. Call.
that's what I'm saying. Like on a tour bus with Wi-Fi and shit, and like
You know, that's actually funny. I talked to Chris Gratton on my last episode. He's a tour production manager
Yeah.
for huge bands, Korn, and all the way to Kanye. It's my like for saying for him, Korn to Kanye. But actually, I kind of asked him the make it or break it question, like what makes bands, what breaks bands, and the honesty thing. What we just talked about, he said bands on tour. The honesty, the being able to like get things off your chest. He said, he said on there, he's like, I'd rather see them, punch each other in the face once a month than hold things in, because then bands completely fall apart.
Sure.
So when you were on tour, did you ever experience anything like that?
Oh, totally. I remember there was this one time, I think we were like Washington D.C. or something. I had a shit show and just did not. I know I didn't play well, so like I know
Was
like
Xavier there?
Xavier was probably there in spirit, like, from the future, just fucking with me. But I did have a good show, and one of the guys, he told me, he's like, oh, you didn't like. I'm like, I know, and I was 20, so like I got like really defensive and like all this shit, like, and I knew because I knew I played bad, so I didn't need to hear it again. That's what my dad's for. Hi, Dad. But like I know when I do a poor job, and I don't need to hear it again, especially from somebody who's like I guess like it was fine at the time, but like at that time I was upset that he said something, and like I pushed him, and like we got into this whole shit. And,
Oh shit.
And but the next day we were fine. Like we drank a little bit, we had some fun, and got over it. Really, like it was just kind of one of those times. But like it was still one of those experiences that like we didn't really hold anything in. Also, like our tour manager was a dickhead, but he was a dickhead for a good reason. Like we had to get our shit together. So we were all young. So
do you ever worry about that stuff once you guys start touring, Mr. Cole?
as far as like getting into it with each
Yeah.
other. The thing is, we spend so much time with each other now. If we haven't, I think it would change a little bit if we were together 24/7. But
I heard Xavier starts to smell.
Xavier stopped
You know
taking
what?
baths.
I don't think I could ever really truly get mad at Tyler because he's so nice.
He's very nice.
it's because he's Canadian.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. Like, I could never really get mad at him. So
He's the mediator of the band.
yeah, I feel like he would be, because he already does a lot for us anyway. I feel like he would be just a ground.
therapist
Yeah,
type
yeah,
thing.
totally. And yeah,
You guys are all pretty level-headed dudes in the first place too.
yeah.
None of you, there's not a single one of you that's like a raging, like just angry all the time.
No.
Yeah, like
No.
Not even
I think the thing is like we're all a little older too. We're like, I'd like to think we were more mature.
I'm young. I'm young. I'm very young.
Yeah,
How old are you?
28.
Yeah, I'm 28 also.
I'm younger than him, so.
I was the first time in the band that I haven't been a bit the baby. So, Xavier gets to be the baby this time. But I think we're all
In a lot
mature
of
enough,
ways.
like where things like, like a little petty shit doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Even if it was, spending 24/7 to get with each other.
I think
like,
that's why we have Joe too, because Joe's petty shit compared to my petty shit is on a different level. Joe will make fun of my petty shit, and then I just like, oh yeah, well I guess it's not really that important because I guess he's right, yeah. So
You're one of a kind, Xavier.
So I appreciate him.
Sure.
So how did you find Miss? Did you reach out to Mr. Cole or did they reach out to you?
I think I reached out to them on, was it Craigslist?
Yeah, it was Craigslist. This is a Craigslist band,
It was a
man.
Craigslist. Band,
This is a
yeah.
Craigslist
Actually,
band.
at this point, every member past you is Craigslist.
Yeah, it's a Craigslist band.
So how did you know they were the right band?
I really enjoy their music, and it was cool, and it was different, and it was really nothing I've ever played before. Because, like I said, the classic rock thing, and like even like the band I was in previously was like the jazz fusion thing, which is a totally different thing for me, also. But like I was like, this band has some huge potential to like make it, to a bigger level because it's more relevant music. It's more all that. And then when I joined the band, the whole direction changed, and Mr. Call kind of started when I joined the band.
Yeah.
I feel.
As soon as you joined the band, we became Mr. Call.
Yeah, it was.
You guys were called Silver Pup before,
Yeah, we
right?
were Silver Pup. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it tattooed on my wrist.
You serious?
Yeah, you see it
Where?
right there, dude. The SP.
Okay, that's
Right
an SP. It's not
Yeah.
Silver Pup.
That's Silver Pup. That was intentional.
Stupid person.
God damn it.
It's like getting a girlfriend's name.
You haven't even had
tattooed
your
on.
first record down. You get a fucking tattoo.
I
in
know.
the
I know.
band.
It's
Come on,
experiences.
man.
Experiences. Make memories.
Get a tramp stamp at that point.
But yeah, I really and I enjoyed the direction. Actually, I auditioned with Ghost in its acoustic form.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
like nothing like it is now. Like you guys heard it.
Yeah.
And then I think I did like maybe an old Silver Pub song. It was like, and
Wishing well, probably.
Wishing Well, yeah,
Love that
probably
song.
Honey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was I remember like
Yeah. You fucked that up.
yeah, I
pretty
fucked that one up pretty hard.
bad. Yeah.
But it was still fun, like, and I really enjoyed like being challenged with something different. Like I said, I saw the potential, so I still see the potential. Like it's still huge. I mean, Xavier and Joe are like crazy great in the studio, and they come up with these awesome ideas, and it's just I feel to me it's just a matter of time, really.
I agree. 100%.
So I mean,
Trademark.
they do the hard work. I mean, really, like it's really cool. It's really cool seeing like being with people that really want it
Yeah.
versus like being with guys that just want to play music. Because I've been in the bands with people that just want to play music, and it's fun and it's great,
it's
and like
great.
you get to play gigs and you get to you get paid and all that.
That's a
And
retirement job.
yeah, like go 50. You have a few gold records and whatever, and like made a shit ton of money, and you're still getting royalties, and you go play a cover gig. What the hell? Unless like you're so famous that you get to gig when you're still 50, then fucking do that. But
That's the goal.
I think like I want to do like I want to be on the tour bus. I want to like play for thousands of people every single night, and travel across the country and travel across the world. Like it's fun. I've done it. It's too much fun. And like for me, it's like I just love playing. I love entertaining, and it's fits my personality more than actually like playing fits my personality more than not playing. Actually, it's weird. Like two different personalities. So, yeah, like just I think this band is, when I first joined, it was just like, oh shit, like doing something cool, doing something different, doing something relevant, new. That's kind of why I joined.
So what about the band? What about you two? How'd you know he was the right guy?
How do we know Lyle was the right guy?
When he showed up and he played, how'd you know he was the one?
I think in the style of music that we do, I think it's pretty critical for every band member to understand their role. There's a big difference between a rock band of X number of years ago versus a pop or pop rock band that's in kind of today's market. And one of the really good things with Lyle is that, like, obviously he's an outstanding player, but he also kind of to what he was saying earlier, like he plays an appropriate thing, and you would not believe how hard it is to find someone who will do what's appropriate versus what it is that they just feel like doing necessarily.
Oh,
like,
I totally agree.
obviously-
I remember, just real quick, I remember trying out, and the first thing I said, I was like, I don't think I'm right for this, because I'm much more technical, much more into this stuff, and what you guys are going for doesn't need that. And like
Yeah.
that's something you have to see on both ends, as the band and as a guitar player.
Absolutely, and he's a technical player, and we tell him not to do that.
Slow down.
Yeah, it's very much like you find someone that is excited about playing in the style that we need, not just like willing. Like we auditioned a bunch of people, and there were people who were willing to play the music, but
It was the love for it.
yeah, and we had conversations about it. We're Xavier and I were like, we could tell, like, that dude is he's a great guitarist, but this isn't what he wants to be doing. This
Yeah.
is like his, this is a stepping stone to some other band that he wants to be in or whatever, and which is totally cool. Like no bad thing there, but
Yeah, but you
it
don't
wouldn't
need that
work for
shit.
us.
Yeah, you guys
And-
are doing something serious here.
Yeah. We needed someone who could play way above the level of what we wanted him to play, and he was excited to play at the level that we needed. And
You wanted a band member.
yeah, a real band
Yeah.
member that's
Yeah.
like, you know what, dude? Like, if you need me to just play an A chord one time in this song, and that's the guitar part, like, I got you. I'll do that, And it doesn't need to be this fight of every section of a song needs
need to have
every
solo.
instrument. Yeah. Like that's not the we're a pop rock band. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not appropriate for what we do. And
So was it something he said that really ignited, like, oh, this guy really wants to be a part of this, or was it just the way he played?
We actually put him on the spot with a new song. I think it was it was Living It Up, actually. We put him on the spot and like, okay, play this, figure it out. And he did that. He did more than that. He wrote exactly, I think, better than what we had, or when I had thought
Yeah.
in the song. So I think when we were writing Living It Up, he had written his part, and then we were playing around with Waiting, and he still killed it at that.
Yeah.
And it was just his ability to adapt to every song and not stress about it, or not look at us like, what do I do now?
It almost felt like you didn't have a new member. It was
Right.
Just that guy.
It's just
That's
like
the guitar player.
that's it. We don't need anyone else. That's fine. Yeah.
That's spectacular.
Yeah.
That's another rare moment.
Yeah, exactly.
This
yeah.
band is like, I'm telling you, like, say what you will, but this band is meant to be. You guys have like as much difficulty as there's been, like the parts that usually tear things apart, like you guys they kind of happening.
Yeah.
The world wants you. This has to happen.
Yeah, I think all the changes that we went through, every one of them made the group stronger, and I think that we're, I think all of us really couldn't be happier with what we got going in the direction, and we're pushing on what we got because we trust it, and
Yeah.
it's
We got a music
solid.
video coming up too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Oh yeah.
just 2 more pages.
I got like a page,
yeah, Sparky.
about a full page left. But actually, so Metallica's obviously my favorite band. I'm dying.
Nice.
So they did a documentary a long time ago for the album Saint Anger called Some Kind of Monster.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I mean, if you ever want to know what like the farthest a band has gotten to difficulty and come out of it, watch that documentary. But when they needed to get a new bass player, Rob Trujillo, when he came into the studio, I love this scene, and this is one of like my favorite scenes, one of my favorite things, because they tried out like all these super famous, super great, bass players, but none of them were right. Rob Trujillo shows up. He's the only one that doesn't show up with a bass. He just goes like, oh yeah, whatever bass works. Picks it up and he's like, all right, let's play the songs. He's just casually playing the stuff, and Metallica is blown away at this guy, right? So they bring him into the table. I don't know if you guys have seen it. They sit him down and say, we're gonna give you $1 million. Go get your shit together. You're in the band, and just to understand this, you're getting 25%. Just the same way we are, you're part of the band. And like that moment, I think every band should pay attention to.
Right.
Not, you don't have to be as big as Metallica to do that. What you guys did with Lyle, like, I knew you guys before Lyle was there. And when Lyle showed up, it didn't feel like you guys had a new member. Like, this was Mr. Cole. Like, this is Mr. Cole now.
Right.
And like, you guys really achieved that moment, because Lyle, I don't know how you felt, but there's nothing worse than being the new guy in town,
Oh, yeah.
having to live up. But, it seemed like from an audience perspective, you guys had that down. And
Yeah.
that was impressive to me. I remember that. That was really, really impressive to me.
Cool.
So fucking rock and roll.
Hell yeah.
So speaking of bands as big as Metallica, this may be a ridiculous question at this point, but what's the goal? Ultimate fame, ultimate tours, ultimate records, what is it?
Huge. I want to be huge. I don't think you understand how, like, I want to be playing the biggest
You wanna play your
stages.
hits.
I want to play the hits. I want to play everything.
You want a greatest hits
Oh
album.
my god. Oh god. I want to be bigger than I want to be bigger than Imagine Dragons.
You can do that.
Yeah, I can do that.
You can do that.
That guy just yells. He just yells.
He just yells. You say so.
And
like really well, and Dan, if you're listening, we'd be happy. To play with
we
you.
know we would totally play it tour with him.
Whatever. Fuck off.
I heard actually like last week on the radio on my way to a job. There some song had just finished playing by Imagine Dragons, and some lady was just like, say what you want about Imagine Dragons, but everything they write is just from the heart. And I'm thinking, shut up, like listen to Thunder, okay? That is not from the heart. This is the stupidest song you've ever heard in your life, but obviously they make money, you know, so you know, I sure.
I don't know how much I like your attitude with what's going on. Once again, I'm happy you have your band members. So I had this question for the whole band, but I
Right.
kind of want to direct it towards you
Oh
now.
no, okay.
Oh God.
Would you say success is more important than the feeling you get when you play?
I don't know. I can't.
You need to answer that question.
Okay, success is more important.
Not
than-
right now if you don't
sell
have.
out, son of a bitch.
You need, and honestly,
sell
like
out.
I'm gonna tell you, you need to know the answer to that question. I think everyone should.
I like.
If I said you're gonna make $10 million a year, you're gonna tour the world every year as much as you want, and your life's gonna work out perfectly.
Right.
But you're gonna lose the joy of playing that bass in the band.
No, because then I'd be in a fucking country band, and I'd hate that so much.
What?
Yeah,
Where did you get?
country bands
This
make
is
money.
what we deal with. This
Yeah.
right here.
No, I'm saying in a scenario where your band is doing everything you
Right.
wanted to do,
Right.
and it's beyond whatever you could imagine,
Uh-huh.
but you pick up that bass and you play those great songs and you feel no joy.
Miserable.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Would you still want that?
I don't know, dude. I don't.
Yeah,
think
you better
so.
think about
I
that.
don't think so.
Fucking get money out of your head and start paying
Yeah.
attention to the two guys next
Yeah,
to you.
I know. I value every.
I was kind of feeling bad for you earlier, but I'm glad they're hard on you.
They are very hard on me.
Now it all makes sense.
Damn, man.
To answer that truthfully, I don't think I would like that at all. I don't think the money.
Hey.
Yeah,
Getting somewhere.
I don't think the money would cure that pain.
What about you guys? Maybe it's,
I mean,
is success more important than enjoying what you're doing?
To me, enjoying what you're doing is the success part.
Yeah.
I
Rock and
don't
roll.
like.
That's the answer.
I knew it was a trick question.
It was,
It wasn't, but now it was.
yeah. No, I mean, look, I think. Yeah, there's. I want nothing to do with doing anything I don't like in exchange for money. Like I feel like that applies to anything. You know, that should apply to your job. That should apply to anything that you have going. And you take, you know, art of any kind and like you can't live that. You can't produce anything that way that still is. True to your art in any way, and yeah, for me, I would be happy, you know, touring, making the music that we want to be making and making no money. That's not really an aspect to me. Like obviously, you know, on the flip side, of course, you need to, for something like what we're doing, you have to treat it like a business, but. When it comes down to it, if you got to choose, you know, the success of the music or success like a financial success, yeah, to me it's easy to pick the music part of it.
Yeah.
Is it true?
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually,
That's the same thing that goes for me too. Like, that's funny because my dad. Shout out to Dad again, as I know he's listening. It's one of those things to like. He asked me, he's like, if you made a bunch of money, but you weren't really liking what you were doing anymore, would you still do it? And the answer is really no. Like I've like, for me, like playing is pretty much like playing live is my favorite thing, and it's always been my favorite thing. Like since I was like 4 years old, like playing little piano recitals to now. It's been 24 years of playing in front of people, and I've only liked it more. Like, and I thrive off it. And if I didn't anymore, for me it would be like, what's the point? Like there'd be no point in it. If there's no joy, there's no point. And that's for me. If I started to not enjoy playing music, then I would stop, because it just like I have to find joy in something. that's why I also like where I work because I like teaching. I like passing on knowledge, and I enjoy like working around musicians and music and instruments and stuff. And it's not something that like I don't want to resent myself. I don't want to be in the future and resent my past self for like, oh, why did you keep on doing something stupid that you hated, just for just to work to live. Like that's just not a life that I want to like be a part of. Like I want to like I said, like playing is just, it's everything to me, and right at this moment wouldn't ever trade it. Like I would gladly play 365 days and not like a year if I could. Like it's that much fun to me. And like being on a tour with these dudes would be like just the icing on the cake, to be perfectly honest. Like it would just be like the coolest thing.
I think so. I will share a story actually.
Share a story.
Okay, one time we played in Santa Barbara when it was Silver Pup. It was a much different band at the time. We played in Santa Barbara, and we played on a cliff actually, like somebody's like apartment overlooking the beach. And by the first song we had like 5 people. By I'd say the last song, I couldn't move a single like a step without hitting someone with my bass. But we were playing this song called Tell Me Nothing that we had, and I think after the first chorus, people had recognized, or not recognized it, just remembered it. And by like the last chorus, people were singing it back to us, and I had people singing it to me while I'm playing in front of them. And right there, I had literal goosebumps on me, and I was just like, this is fucking amazing. Like,
it's unreal.
Yeah, it was incredible. Like I just could not believe that this many people. It was packed. It was crowded. It was we were on the streets of IV in Santa Barbara, and I just couldn't believe that this many people gave a shit about me playing, So that's what I want, for sure. So
I'm very happy to hear that.
Sorry anyone I upset,
I mean, you upset us.
So how do you guys think you're gonna get there?
Work.
Tyler,
Tyler, you know what?
1-800.
Call
So
Tyler.
I mean, but realistically, like you guys obviously don't have a manager, you don't have a label,
Right.
You guys are doing your own stuff. You're recording out of wherever you're recording. How are you promoting? Go for
Go
it.
ahead.
All right. So, I think this is something that we're really starting to figure out, and I mean that in the sense of not that I feel like we're on a very good stride of sorting out how we want to treat this. For a while, again, kind of pulling the band back together. We wanted to just be a band first, like get music together, get good songs, and then once we have a product, let's figure this thing out. And really the most recent project, in Tyler's been an amazing help with this, is really tackling social media, tackling how are we going to make next level steps. And so we've kind of put together, we've figured out good ways to kind of divide the skill sets of the people in the band. Myself and Xavier, generally speaking, will try to focus on songwriting, at least from the perspective of coming in with material that the rest of the band can work with. And then Lyle and Tyler are really focusing on the online promo, building social media. We're trying to get into more fan interaction type things. Actually, we probably have something we were talking about in chat the other day that
ManyChat?
the next what was that?
You guys using ManyChat on Facebook?
We use WhatsApp.
We use WhatsApp, and we communicate nonstop all the time, mostly making fun of Xavier. And
mostly.
But
Makes sense.
we're really pushing to do a lot more actual fan involvement. Like I think there's kind of an arc that bands go through where first they're like, okay, let's get something online, and now we're online. Okay, cool, nothing's happening, because of course nothing's going to happen when you just put your crap online. Nobody cares. And then, okay, how do you reach out to people? And you start a campaign of being visible, and we were doing that for quite a while, and I think that had been, it's starting to be successful in figuring out how to be visible, and now we're really, I think, going to turn a corner as far as more interaction, where we're actually like getting the fans involved with what we're doing. Hey, what song do you want to hear an unplugged version of? What types of things? How can we really communicate with our audience when we're not on stage? And so I think that's a big component. Completely separately from that is looking at the bigger kind of circuits, the festival kind of circuits, and getting more involved there. As far as like label type stuff, I think we could definitely go down the road of indie labels even now. I've had good conversations with some different people that are that own indie labels or are associated with that have interest, but it's not. It doesn't necessarily make sense. We don't need to just be in debt to somebody for the cost of making a record. Like we need that relationship to be valuable for a different reason, and we need to provide the value. We almost need to kind of build our brand to something where we almost don't need the label, and that's the point where we're in a good position to work with a label, so we're not getting like a bad deal out of it. So right now, I think in my mind, we're at the phase of buzz, like building the buzz, and once we have that, more. I mean, and we've done really well recently. We have people talking about us. We have people sharing us and bringing their friends out to shows, and that's already accelerating, absolutely. But I think in the coming months, once that's at a level that we're really comfortable with, that's the point where we're gonna kind of reach out to the next level. We're actually very intentionally not reaching out to more industry contacts.
Nice.
Because it doesn't make sense quite yet, and we don't want to burn the relationship at a point where it doesn't make sense.
One of the smartest things I know someone's told me is labels are like banks. If you have a good business and you go to get a loan, they're going to give you a loan to make your good business huge. If you have a bad business and you go to a bank, you're not really going to get a loan, are you? That's the only way you should look at the labels at this point.
Sure.
Right.
But no, I like the fact that you guys want control and want to do it your way. I think that's why you're going to be huge. That's why it's going to succeed in whatever route that it takes. But out of curiosity, say the label does approach you and says, "Hey guys, here's this much money. Here's your budget. Record an album. Go on a world tour." And we have to have that's happening right now. What are the kinds? What are you willing to sacrifice if you said yes to that? I mean, you don't have to say yes to that at all. But if you said yes and decided to go with that, what would you sacrifice? What would you be willing to sacrifice? Would you be willing to let them own masters? Would you be willing to walk away from your family and your friends and your personal lives completely to go do it? Would you maybe wear the clothes that they want you to wear, kind of things like that? Like where do you draw the line?
That's interesting. So working backwards from what you just said, wear the clothes that they want you to wear. I would say that depends. If it's within any kind of realm of what's natural, then I frankly couldn't care less, because the point for us is to make music and put on a show, and if somebody else wants to strap additional things onto that, I really don't care. I don't mind. Like, if that helps achieve what we care about, I'm all about it. Like, it doesn't have to be our idea in my mind. It doesn't have to be like, if somebody said, "Hey, we'll give you a bunch of money to go play a kind of music that you don't like," I have no interest in that. Mm-hmm. But I don't have any problem with endorsing something that works with what we do. So my boundary there would be around if if it's not what we want to do, then I don't have any interest in it. It's not, to me, again, you know, like we talked about before, like the success kind of aspect isn't, it isn't just, you know, making the money. It's doing what we want to do, and, you know, and having that be a career. So
what I mean, another scenario regarding that, like, what if they said, hey, we've set up an entire tour, you can play all your own songs however you want, big stadiums, we own the masters, and you're going to get a shit cut. You're not going to make a lot of money on that. You're going to get a shit cut, but you get to have everything you want. But they said you could leave tomorrow and build the biggest fan base in the world.
Oh yeah,
But you're not going to make much money on it.
that's fine. I don't make much money now anyway, so that's fine.
Happy to hear that.
I think one of the big things is like the music industry as a whole is already like that. So I mean, at that
Ready
point,
for it.
yeah. So it's like almost kind of expected as far as like, you know, recordings go. Like the artist makes nothing in like the recordings unless they wrote the songs, which, you know, half the artists do, half the artists don't. It just depends on who you are. You know, if you're Beyonce, like, you don't have time to write fucking songs. Like, you're gonna go, you know, you're gonna go play a stadium for 50,000 people. Like, you're gonna make your money. But like, as far as like, you know, we're gonna get a shit cut. I mean, man, like, as long as we're getting paid enough to pay the bills and like have fun still, and like our musical,
Fuck yes.
as long, like, that's for me. Like, as long as like our musical integrity is still intact, like, then I'm all for it. You know, I'm not gonna go play like, you know, a world tour for, you know, for the biggest stadiums for $100 a night. Like, that's
Fuck that shit.
that's a real shit cut right there.
You gotta pay your bills
Like,
still.
Yeah, I still gotta pay bills. But like, you know, if it's, you know, within some kind of reason, like, of course, like, you know,
Like 5,000 a night is
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, no problem. Yeah.
That's no problem.
But like, well,
Fucking Xavier.
that's what I'm saying as far as like musical integrity. Like, you know, we get to play our own songs, we get to write, we get to create. Like, you know, we're musicians first. That's the thing. Is like, we're musicians first, and like, if as long as that's not taken away from, at least speaking for myself, if that's not taken away from me, then I'm happy with whatever. Dress me however you want. Like tell me what to do, tell me what, like, where to stand. Like, but let me play my own music. I'm happy. Like, I'll
really like that.
I'll entertain the shit out of whoever wants to listen to me.
Fuck yeah. You guys agree with that?
Yeah. Hey, didn't someone come to you and like want to change everything about you?
I played a showcase.
Yeah.
For
Tell me about that.
I played a showcase for these two agents from a big agency I won't name, and I drove all the way down. I put together a great set, and I played the whole entire set, right? And typically, I would agree with you, Lyle, with the idea, like, put wherever you want me, let me play my music.
Yeah.
I'll go to dinner with them after. They haven't said anything about the 45-minute set I've just played for them. Nothing about the music, nothing about the song. We sit down, and for about 2 hours, they told me about how I need to change my image, how I need to cut, or I need to grow my hair out, I need to do
Yeah.
this, I need to act this way, and not a single thing was said about my music. And my parents were there. I think I was like 17 at the time, and I was actually doing some work at Universal Records. That's how I met them. And about 2 hours of dinner go by. My parents are there, and I was just like, I don't know. I kind of felt nervous about saying something. So I finally looked them both, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I said, you know what? 2 hours have gone by. You haven't said a damn thing about my music, and that's the first thing I care about. If you were, and they literally said, like, we want you to grow your hair out because it gives girls something to grab. And I was like, if you're worried about girls being attracted, don't worry. There's plenty of me to grab. I was like, I'm the fucking best at what I do. This dinner is over. And I got up and I walked out. I was scared shitless when I walked out. My dad came home that night and I was like so worried. He gave me a hug. He's like, I've never been more proud of you. But like,
that's
that shit's
awesome.
out there.
Your dad rules, by the way.
I love my dad. That guy's fucking badass.
So cool. I feel like met with him at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, he's
now.
been to a few of the shows.
Yeah, he's always so sweet. What a good guy.
He's an artist all the way. All the way.
Like,
Oh yeah.
But like, I ran into that multiple times, ran into stuff like that all the time, and it's like it's different when like there's no interest in the music. But if they say, hey, we love your music, but we want to we want to change your image, but like we want you to play your music, sure. I mean, there's definitely lines.
Yeah,
But yeah, I agree with what you said. I definitely agree with what you said. I experienced a little differently, but
Yeah.
and there's always the point where like it's, you know, they're you don't have to take whatever that situation is. Like, you can't assume that that's the only option that's going to present itself. You know, like you don't want to some concessions are fine for sure, but there needs to be like your own threshold that says, you know what, like I'm confident enough with what I'm doing that like I'm not gonna go very far outside of my little threshold here because somebody else is gonna like this thing.
Yeah.
Like somebody else, like I don't need to take that deal because there's other deals. There's other.
I was
there's
approached
other
multiple
labels.
times.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was the same story, and I was like, you know what? I'd take the deal if someone gave a shit about what I'm doing.
Fair, yeah.
And that was a big thing. And that's the thing, like, you know, and now we live in an age where you can do it independently. I met with a guy named AC Burrell. This guy's produced, you know, Backstreet Boys all the way to Bieber. He's got a studio in Hollywood. I met with him in a studio one time, and we talked for like an hour, just kind of an educational thing. And he even told me, he's like, the most successful musicians that I know have started independent, what you guys are doing, exactly what you guys are doing, and kept that way, turned down every deal, no matter how many millions of dollars. Those guys are making up to $10 to like $50 million a year, 100% on their own. And that's the world we live in today. So when I see bands like you guys, you know, going for it, and like, you know, you're not totally opposed to the label idea, but you care more about what you're doing and what you're releasing. See, that is the fucking future. That's the redemption. That's the incredible, you know, surge of music that's coming our way. You guys are the fucking forefront.
Right.
So if you stop, I'll kill you.
I like it. I like this. Yeah.
Speaking
It's
of
good motivation.
stopping and killing you, do any of you have any backup plans?
No.
Lyle?
Not. I mean, not really. Like I love teaching and stuff like that, and I also have like a background in like marketing and stuff. But like that's really it. Joe's the only one with the real. Joe and Tyler have backup plans.
What's your backup plan?
Well, you know, I'm a tech dude. I work in tech. Music is my first love for sure, but I genuinely enjoy tech also. So I don't look at it as so much like a backup plan. You know, if all else fails, I do tech. It's just more like I love doing tech. I love doing music.
You know
more.
you could do something if something happened, but you're not thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, like it's always available. And you know, again, I work in tech now, but music has always been since I was 4 years old. Music has always been my passion, and that certainly hasn't changed. So it's available, but I guess I just don't really worry about it.
Good. Forget those backup plans. Give it everything.
Yeah.
I'm counting on you guys.
I have no backup plan, dude. I don't have anything I'm good
Dude,
at.
I mean, 99% of the reason I started this damn podcast is because I want to build this community and show people that music is still on the forefront.
Yeah.
That there's a whole new surge of it coming, that it's all possible for anybody that really wants to put on the work. You guys are putting on the work. You better not fucking stop.
No, definitely not.
I like it.
No.
Because if you do, I will sneak into your houses at night.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Hear that,
Yeah.
Xavier?
You hear that, Tyler? Yeah. And
Yeah,
Lyle?
tell Tyler this. Make Tyler listen.
Tyler, dude, where are you?
So speaking of the great band Mr. Call, what can we look forward to? What's in the future? Tell me everything.
Everything. Wow. Okay. Well, we're very soon recording a video that is actually like a super cool concept that we're not going to tell details about, Xavier. We're not going to talk about the specifics of it, Mr. Overshare.
Gotta love him.
But it's actually so we're working with this crew that again, because we're a Craigslist band, I'm pretty sure we found them on Craigslist
Yeah, we
also.
did.
But
Trademark that,
kudos to
Xavier.
Tyler on that one again. But this small little team that is super creative, and it's just such a cool concept that I don't think any of us have ever seen done in a music video before. And so I'm gonna leave it pretty as kind of a teaser,
like
but
it.
we've started the process. We're in kind of like a pre-production planning phase. We're gonna be filming in a few weeks.
Fuck yeah.
And it is gonna be really, really amazing. They do such cool work. We'll talk about who they are at a later date and release more information. But that's kind of the next big thing on our radar. Aside from
Can
that,
I ask what song you're doing?
No, you can. Well, you can, but we're not gonna tell you about it.
Dirty bastards.
Yeah,
I expect a personal text when you bring it.
we can hook that up. But yeah, it's that's really exciting because that's a big deal for us. You know, we get a bunch of B-roll footage and photos and stuff all the time, but this will be like the first time the four of us are together in a video, and it's with such a unique idea that we're just we're pumped. We're very pumped about it. Aside from that, we're writing and recording. We always have multiple songs in the works, working on that, and just kind of the path that we're talking about of really trying to start growing a relationship, I think, with the fan base.
Yeah, give your social media tags real quick because I want people to get involved.
Instagram is at Mr. Call Official, Facebook.com/We Are Mr. Call, Twitter.com/Mr. Call Official, Gmail, our email, we are Mr.
Our
Call.
social security number.
We are Mr. Call at gmail.com.
All our personal phone numbers.
Yeah, any fans, reach out to these guys. These guys, as you can tell, are very easy to talk to. Do you mind if we play one more song before I ask my last question?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
What do you guys have a preference of song?
I think "Living It Up" is our
It's a good song.
front runner
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah.
So that's probably a good one.
All right, well, here's Living It Up.
I'm a highway breakdown with my thumbs out, pulling dust from the pockets of my jeans. Got no pennies, no pounds, no I'm a cash drought, but I'm feeling rich when we hit the scene, because we roll deep, play big, and got everything we need. Living it up like we're printing money, growing up, no, we'll never get old, staying up till we see the sun. Hey, giving it up, no, we'll never go home. We'll never go home. We'll never go. We'll never go home. I got a busted lock falling off my front door, but I'll never turn my back on company. You be my mob, I'll be your troubadour. We'll sing a song when it's what you need, because we roll deep, play big, got everything we need. We're living it up like we're printing money, growing up, no, we'll never get old, staying up till we see the sun. Hey, giving it up, no, we'll never go home. We'll never go home. We'll never go. We'll never go home. We'll never go. We'll never go home. We'll never go. Living it up like we're printing money, growing up, no, we'll never get old, staying up till we see the sun. Hey, living it up, no, we'll never go. Living it up like we're printing money, growing up, no, we'll never get old, staying up till we see the sun. Hey, living it up, no, we'll never go home. Living it up like we're printing money, growing up, no, we'll never get old, staying up till we see the sun. Hey, living it up, no, we'll never go home. Living it up like we're printing money, growing up, no, we'll never get old, staying up till we see the sun. Hey, living it up, no, we'll never go home. Living it up like we're printing money, growing up, no, we'll never get old, staying up till we see the sun. Hey, living it up, no, we'll never go home. Living it up like we're printing money.
Well, Living It Up. Fuck yeah. That's definitely one of your most inspiring songs. I feel like I would put that song on in the morning, in the middle of the day, and at
We
nighttime.
hope you do.
Honestly, that's a song that I would listen to like any mood. Like that song's gonna get me where I need to be.
Nice.
And those are the Xavier. That's a fucking hit.
Thank you.
That's a fucking hit.
I didn't,
There's your hit.
I didn't.
So I got one question before we go, before we end all this, because you guys aren't a huge successful band yet.
Not
Keyword
yet.
is yet.
Yet.
But you guys have paid a lot of dues. You guys have put a lot of fucking work in. I respect you guys more than most people in this world.
Thank you.
For the people out there that are thinking of starting a band, that are in a band, that want to join a band, anything like that, what are like just a handful, 3 things that you say are the most important parts to begin, to get where you guys are?
I mean, I have thoughts, but I would,
Okay, I'll start.
Oh, Xavier's starting. I
I'll
like
start.
this.
Okay, number 1, you're gonna suck a lot at anything you write. That's number 1. You're gonna suck no matter what. It's gonna be bad. It's not gonna sound good. Number 2, just do it.
Nike.
Nike.
Trademark.
Damn it.
You got beat.
And number 3, if you love it, then you have to believe in it. So
just do it.
just do it.
You know what? It was cheesy as that was. I really
It
liked
was.
it. I
It
really
really-
liked it.
Like
I really liked it.
like was starting with me. Like I was really bad at writing songs, and I still kind of am. That's why I have the band. To
Fall back up.
they help me.
You guys
and-
enhance each other.
right, and it's just a lot of reps, man. With anything, gym, me, reps, music, me, reps. It's just reps, man. And I love it. I fucking love it. So, Lyle, why don't you take it away?
Xavier, you're going to go down in history. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm calling it right now. Everyone, Haig is the first one to say it. Xavier will go down in history.
So I think, I mean, this goes with as like being a musician too, is that like totally be honest with yourself as a musician, as a band member. You are not ever gonna know everything. That's just reality. It's impossible, especially with music. There's too much to know. Not even the best musicians know everything. It's a learning experience until the day you die. Learn from your bandmates and trust your bandmates because they're your support system. And like, you may have parents that are unsupportive. You may have significant others that are unsupportive of it. But if you have, some kind of support system, like, your band, then you're doing it for the right reason. Trust yourself. Like, and listen, be open to criticism. That's the biggest thing, is be open to criticism. Because not everyone's going to agree with what you do. And you have to understand that, and you have to accept it. Be receptive to that. And I think if you are receptive to it and you're willing to make changes, you're happy to make changes, you're excited for all that kind of stuff, then I think everybody has the potential to do that and be successful and have fun with it. And that's the last one. My biggest point is have fun. I know it's as cheesy as that sounds, is you have to have fun, because if you don't have fun, then what's the point?
Fuck yeah.
Joe?
Give it to us.
All right. Yeah, I would say that I go to a lot of music conferences and stuff, and one thing that I always hear people say is to be true to yourself as an artist and blah blah blah, which to me has always just been you listen to some pop star that just accidentally fell into fame because of their family relationships with record labels, and you're like, okay, I'm not
And now
gonna,
they're preaching.
yeah, I'm not gonna really care about you saying to be true to yourself. But I think if you look at it very practically speaking, take the super artist perspective out of the picture, look at it very, very practically, that you're never gonna outdo the band that you like that's already on the radio. You're not gonna out Metallica. You're not gonna.
Impossible.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So from a very, very practical perspective, you absolutely cannot make music that sounds like the current bands and beat them. No one is going to put money behind that. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what it comes down to. You'll if you're aiming for mainstream kind of recognition, no one is going to put money behind a slightly crappier version of a known band. You genuinely actually have to make something that is that is unique to what to you, and you might be weird, you might be quirky, you might be like, you might make stuff that that 99 out of 100 people don't like, but that multiplier of 1% is huge. If you play in front of enough people and they're really into that really quirky thing, you will suddenly have the most true fans that you could ever hope for. So like, you really need to stick with that concept of doing something that is, don't worry about do something unique, but like, do whatever that thing is that's a little weird in your mind. Do that thing that that you're nervous about doing because you don't really know that people will like it. You like it, but you don't know if anyone else will. Like, that's exactly the thing that you need to do, because you're not gonna outdo what's already on the radio. It's not a practical thing. You could be better, and it doesn't matter. No one's going to. Done. Yeah, it's already been done. No one's going to take their Metallica money and give it to you to do Metallica music. Yeah, they're just not. It's not practical. So you have no option if you want to be successful and make music that people are going to be attracted to as a unique artist anyway. You literally don't have an option but to make something that is unique to you. So do that and do it unapologetically. And when people don't like it, I would consider that a good sign that you're being intentional about what you're doing. And because when you find the people that do like it, they're gonna latch on that much more.
Jesus, that was beautiful, all of you guys. That was incredible. I feel like I'm just going to cut that whole part out and sell it as like a motivational book, audio book. That was incredible. Well, guys, I can't thank you enough for coming on to the podcast, the Studio Corner. This is the first band I've done. It's been nothing short of a pleasure. I cannot wait to see what happens. Don't give up, don't stop, or else you will face me, and that's not a pleasant sight.
Well, thank you so very much for having us.
Appreciate it.
We're honored. We're excited to sign the sign.
Sign the banner. Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, everybody, this has been the Studio Corner with Mr. Call. Be sure to follow them on their journey to ultimate fame, Xavier.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Hike. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Hike.
Peace.